Okay, I was going to make a different video this month, also based on the topic of Yu-Gi-Oh! However, I've decided to make it this topic instead, which I've wanted to cover for a while, mostly because of the recent passing of Kazuki Takahashi, the creator of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise. Kazuki Takahashi, thank you for everything that you've given us, and I hope you rest in peace. My history with it goes back to when I was very, very young. I have faint memories of playing the card game in primary school. I want to say year 2 or 3. I wouldn't have been no more than 6, 7, 8. It was very early, and early memories of playing the card game with friends at birthday parties. Like, we're trading cards, and we had all the earliest sets, at least from the original series in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I remember one of my first ever decks, an Ancient Gear deck. I used Ancient Gear Golem because I pulled it from a pack that I thought was awesome. And I remember one of my first memories was playing the game during recess. I was finally able to summon Ancient Gear Golem. And then a teacher wanted to talk to me, so I had to go away and talk to them for a bit. And when I leave the duel, and when I came back, all the cards were still on the table. My friend, the person I was dueling, was talking to someone else. But just literally, only my Ancient Gear Golem was gone, even though I summoned it. So that was a shame. We grew up with multiple franchises. We grew up with the Pokemon Game Boy games and later the DS games. We grew up with Bakugan, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Was always a mainstay at birthdays, like recesses and lunches. It was always, especially with me, a thing that you would zone in and out of. And I remember as well, because I don't recall a later airing of the movie, the original Pyramid of Light movie, so I must have been 5 when I saw it. I would have had to have been, because I remember going to see the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pyramid of Light movie, and since it was released in 2004, I must have been 5. Or at the very least, unless there was like a re-release a year later or so, I don't know, because I have very early memories of seeing it with my friend Callum, and my dad is the one that took us. And I also remember you would get the pack, you get 1 of 4 cards. I got the Pyramid of Light, and my friend Callum got the Sorcerer of Dark Magic, which he proceeded to use in a deck just to annoy me. We grew up with it, and as I changed primary schools, like, not a lot of people in my new primary school cared for it until my friend Aaron came to our school, and we talked about our interests, and he said he used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! As well, and he was actually very good at drawing. He drew a lot of sketches of the dragons. Like, he quite literally, I remember he said this to me, he drew an amazing sketch of Slifer the Sky Dragon that his grandparents loved so much that they framed it and have it on the wall in their house. So some old couple has a sketch of Slifer the Sky Dragon in their house, which is magnificent. But yes, when I got to year 7, I impromptu decided by myself, you know what? I want to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! So I remember the structure deck I bought. I'm going to look up the name just to make sure. The structure deck I bought was the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dragons Collide structure deck. That's right, it is that old. I remember getting it and loving, like, the light and dark dragons and thinking they were like top shit. And from there, a bunch of other friends got back into the game. Aaron, Jack, Callum even, and mate Jacob as well. And we all have our own different fortes of our favorite cards and whatnot. As well, when I was younger, I remember I had a lot of cards, due in part to my cousins, Josh and Jake. They had a bunch of cards, and I believe also my cousin Reese. They had a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, and they used to play the game when it first came out. I think it was specifically my cousin Jake had a set of Exodia with the 4 pieces, I believe, from an unlimited edition of Legend of Blue Eyes, and the Exodia head from Master Collections 1. They were all a bit worn, but it was still Exodia, which I thought was the coolest shit. So yeah, I had a lot of their cards, and that time when I got out of it, I want to say around year 5, because that's when I went to a different primary school, I traded or gave away a lot of my cards, and I remember that Exodia set got traded around between a bunch of different friends, and then in year 7, I remember somehow Aaron had the set, and I'm like, what the fuck? You got my original Exodia set that I got from my cousin, and I was able to trade it back and get that Exodia set back. I now have it. In the future, when the folder's complete, because it's not exactly complete, I may do a reveal of my collection binder. It's got a lot of cards in there, which I imagine are worth quite a lot of money, and a lot of cards that mean a lot to me. And as well, growing up, I would watch Toasted TV, which would have different kids shows on it, or cartoons, or anime. It would have Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Dragon Ball. And I remember always getting the chance to watch original Yu-Gi-Oh, GX, and I believe a little bit of 5Ds. I don't exactly remember. I remember 5Ds and Synchros, like, just happening as I was either leaving or getting back into it. And then it was just kind of just existed throughout high school, but not as prominent. It was Callum, Aaron, and I. We made actual decks and were getting competitive. There was a game store half an hour from my house that and it was at a place where our parents would always go shopping. Every Friday we would go, not every Friday, but quite often we would go and enter their Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. And I don't think I ever won. I remember Aaron, he was a lot smarter than me, and he actually knew like the best decks. And even, I don't even know if he still does it to this day, we still occasionally chat about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I believe he like still is aware of the meta and what's the more expensive cards, and he uses that to buy and then sell the more expensive cards, make money. Fair enough. I did that for a little bit as well. And yeah, so we would enter tournaments, and I remember that was the only place we entered tournaments. And I remember we entered a tournament in a place in town. I remember this, and it was a lot of fun, but it was mostly adults at that location. And we joined a Facebook group for that place, and I remember something happened. Like, there is a more detailed story of it out there. I really need to remember the details, because now a few of my current friends who I've made in recent years actually are aware of the story because they were somehow connected to it. It's weird, but it's essentially I ended up getting bullied out of that group because of something that I thought was serious that was a joke, and they kept teasing me about it, like, oh, you're so fucking stupid, like. And I didn't know. I literally got like unmessaged, and they made me their like group banner for like King Shithead or something. It was really fucking, it was quite abhorrent for a kid or a teenager, a young teenager like me, because I had never witnessed or been experienced like with any, I never experienced anything like that before. I was rather sheltered growing up, living on a farm. So that literally bullied me off of Facebook. I deleted my first Facebook account because of that, and it took me like a year before I made a new one. Yeah, no, that was like 2012, 2013, something like that. That was bizarre. Maybe a bit later, I'm not sure. But I don't know, 2012, 13, that lines up. Oh, here's an embarrassing story for you. This was also around the time where I was really getting into YouTube. I want to say year 7. Yeah, year 7. That was where a lot of this happened. I even had one of those toy dual discs. Here's another story for you. When I was younger than that, younger than year 7, I forgot, probably when I was a kid, the dual disc had come out and it was only available at Toys R Us, and I really wanted this dual disc. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Put my cards on there, wapcha, I'm playing the game. And I remember I had to show my mother where to get the dual disc. So she took me to, I told her Toys R Us. So we went to a Toys R Us quite far away from where we live. I was able to take her and find it. Well, actually no, we couldn't find it. So then we had to go to the front desk and say, hey, hello, do you have any of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual discs? And quite literally, the dude was next to a cashier who was scanning one of them, and I'm like, oh, that's them right there. And the lady who was buying them had one of her kids with her, and she was buying 2 dual discs. And the cashier said, "Oh, sorry, I actually think these are the last 2 we have in stock." And I really wanted this because I think it was for my birthday. I don't really remember. And I was really upset. I remember because I was incredibly young. Please remember, I always get embarrassed telling stories about me when I was younger. But yeah, the lady that was buying them was really kind and said, "You know what? You can have one of them. You can buy one of them." Because I was buying one for this son, and I was going to buy the other one for my other son, whose birthday is like in another month. But it's okay. We'll find another one. You can have this one. So she let us buy one of them, and it was incredibly cool. I remember that one. Like, lasted me a few years before I broke it. And then in year 7, I somehow acquired another one, and I don't remember how, but I somehow acquired another one. So I just randomly had another dual disc. I think I bought it off someone for like 50 bucks. I don't remember. And in year 7, now this is going to be very embarrassing, probably used against me in the future. My quote-unquote girlfriend, she tried to show interest in the things I was in, so I showed her Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that was on my mind a lot of the time. And I remember this was around the time I was getting really into YouTube, and so much so, me and Callum and Aaron had a channel briefly. So I wanted to make, and I was really into YouTubers, what are they called? Yugi-tubers, yeah, YouTubers that make Yu-Gi-Oh! Content. The 2 that really come to mind are Simply Unlucky and Cyber Knight 8610, or now just Cyber Knight. And I wanted to do my own openings like them. And there was a video, I think it was recorded, I think on my iPad. It must have been my iPad. I went to, I believe it was the Royal Adelaide show, the big show in Adelaide that happens every year. And somehow this stall had it must have been an original Legendary Collection 1. The one with the gold cards. And I bought it for like 60, 70 bucks. And I was so excited to open it, and I didn't want to wait. My girlfriend and I, like, we sat behind the stall or something, and not in a crowded area. And I said, "This is going to be embarrassing, but could you record me opening them?" Because, like, I tried to explain to her why, and she said, yeah, that's fine. And so literally, I think the video opens with like, "Oh, Trent here, I'm opening this," got her name, girlfriend's name. She said, filming this for me, and she said, "Hey." And I remember opening them, and like I said, "Hey, do you want to," got her to open a pack, and you know, it was that long ago. I don't know if she enjoyed it or just put up with it or was just happy to be doing something. It was hard to tell. Quite embarrassing, but yeah. So yeah, and that's how I got the god cards, and like it got me really interested in collecting. So that's how I really got into collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! Was those god cards, because they weren't playable. Yeah, anyway, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Always just kind of existed in our lives. We entered tournaments, and nowadays I mostly just collect cards. Yeah, I love the anime. I haven't really gone out of my way to read the manga. It's that long-standing. I read the 5Ds manga, but I know how different that is compared to the anime, so I like stuck with the anime mostly. I believe I've watched a good lot of the first 3 series. I've watched Bonds Beyond Time, and I remember I convinced Aaron to come over in like 2017, 2018, whenever it came out, to watch Dark Side of Dimensions with me. That was a lot of fun, very nostalgic. It's been a long part of my life, has Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay. Look, if you've made it this far, thank you very much for sticking with me, but I am going to reveal a secret. I'm going to reveal a secret to everybody that I have not told anyone, and I have kept with me for literally years. And I'm only choosing to reveal this now because A, you really have to be a fucking dedicated fan to go this far in a video of me rambling, because I know these don't really do well on YouTube, especially for me, the smaller channel, and also because like I've literally had people ask me about it multiple times, including one of the earliest videos I was ever in, a small YouTuber tag with my friend Larissa. The why stands for in Trend Hunter Y. It doesn't stand for Yu-Gi-Oh! No, it doesn't. When I was younger, I would like to think of like having imaginary friends. I was a little bit, not really antisocial, but I only had a small collection of friends, and I lived on a farm. Like, yeah, I wasn't too far from the town, like from the town where I lived. I found a connection. This is kind of also an influence for some of my story, for the book I'm writing. I found the connection of having like someone that's with you in spirit and you're able to communicate with be really, really cool and really, really fascinating. Much in a similar way as how the Pharaoh Yami-Yugi is with Yugi. But for me, that wasn't the connection that really stuck out to me. If you've watched a certain thing that has not been dubbed, called Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 4, you would know Jaden Yuki has a connection to the character known as Yubel. Now, if you might have picked up on the hint, no one has. Yubel was the first ever character, yeah, very obsessed. Obsessed to the point of dear crazy. But I remember somehow watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 4 when I was very young. I cannot tell you how, but I watched it. And I remember, like, Yubel was not crazy in Season 4. She was that spirit guide. But I remember, like, every time Jaden did something, or Judai in this case, did something that would almost be supernatural, his eyes would glow the same heterochromic colors of orange and teal as Yubel's, as he did something. And this was so cool to me that I thought, wow, imagine if I had something like that. Like, because I daydreamed quite a lot as well, like especially when I was younger, I daydreamed quite a lot. Imagine if I ever did something awesome and my eyes glowed. And like, I loved the idea of heterochromia, because I'd never actually met anyone with heterochromia. Like having two different colored eyes, that just was always cool to me. So I literally imagined, like, what if I had Yubel, like, help me do cool powers, shooting beams, and like my eyes glowed like that. So like, yeah, for the longest time I was just like obsessed with the character of Yubel. I even made an incredibly good Dark World Yubel deck, because the whole point of Yubel is destroy itself to bring out its next forms, like its ultimate forms. So I made the original Trend Hunter Y channel in 2015. So yeah, and this was around the time where I was coming out of my shell more, and I wanted to do stuff creatively, like writing and YouTube and all that, which is why I made the channel. But I also like was still introverted in the sense where it's just like, I know, like I was still kept to myself. I was only just getting back into wrestling, and I didn't tell anybody I was getting back into wrestling, because that was always something I got teased for. And like, I still enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh, but I didn't tell a lot of people, because it was in high school. You know, it's always that image of trying to be cool in high school. And yeah, I was just obsessed with this character, Yubel. And like a few like one or two mates picked up on that, like, damn, you use that card a lot, you like that character a lot. I'm like, yeah, I do. But yeah, no one's ever picked up on the fact that the colors, especially for the logo, Trend Hunter Y, and now my avatar's eyes are the same as Yubel's. Because I always thought that would be fucking awesome, having powers and eyes glowing and like a spirit present with me to help me fight or whatever like that. And like in year 10, like I probably the edgiest I've ever been, because I was introverted, I tried to be cool, and I was just kept to myself a lot of the time, and I was a bit of a dick. So, like, everyone went through those high school phases, and mine was kind of stop and start, like, weird, like, loner weirdo phases. And yeah, I made Trent_Y, like, the channel, like, first, like, for, like, in reality, it should be called Trent plus Y, because I made it as a, like, I make, like, Trent plus Yubel, making, like, I don't know. But then I didn't realize the underscore was called an underscore, so I called it an underdash. That's why in all my early videos I introduced myself as Trent_Y. So yeah, and that just kind of stuck. And like, I was always, I was very weird about it, and I didn't tell anyone. I like thought, because I daydream a lot. I wanted to have these cool powers and do stuff like that. And like, high school was not the best. Like, our high school especially was very fucked up, and I was tormented by a lot of people that I thought I was close with, and I tended to keep to myself. So that's how that name came to be. My long justification of my weird name. There you go. Yeah, like, even today, I still I haven't told anybody about that because I have the fear of being teased, because it's such a strange thing. One reason I have felt more comfortable sharing this, especially nowadays, is because in a Firestorm Let's Play, I can't tell you which one, Gus chose the Silver name, especially for his other channels like Silver Talks and all that, and Silver Games, because of Silver the Hedgehog. And like, he said, yeah, look, it was weird, but I was a kid back then, and I literally had the thought of, that's like not the exact same as me, like, because he loved the character Silver the Hedgehog, and I was obsessed with the character Yubel. That's why I chose the name Trent_Y. And like, our circumstances were quite similar, and I was like, oh, wow. I suppose I shouldn't be embarrassed about choosing my name like that then. But yeah, so that's the origins of Trent_Y, sorry. You can thank Yu-Gi-Oh! And you can thank Kazuki Takahashi, and you can thank the character of Yubel. And yeah, so this was my long ramble, mostly a 10-minute justification of my name. But it's a manga, an anime, and a card game that has reached and inspired many, many people. And it's just, it's something I've loved for years. And like, you could say it's mostly because of nostalgia, because I don't really play the card game anymore, and like, there's only like one new set that I kind of like, one new like subset of monsters that I collect because I think they look cool. Like, I don't really play the card game. Like, I have this crappy Synchro Rose deck, and like, I got rid of most of my Dark World cards, so even if I wanted to make another Yubel deck, it would be incredibly difficult because Yubel is not actually a good card. That's the end of this rant. Kazuki Takahashi passed away the 7th of July, so I know this is a month late. Apologies. Yeah, I decided with this recent announcement and this recent news, I would decide to talk about my history with Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, and it means a lot for many bizarre reasons, either just memories of playing the card game with friends, or watching the show, watching the movies, and even reading the manga for those who do. And yeah, I'm maybe seeing it through nostalgic lenses, especially because like, I never watched anything past 5Ds. I know there's Zexal, Arc 5, Vrains, Sevens, and everything about speed dueling. God. I never really got into the games either. Like, I played Master of Roses, and I never really got that far. Like, I might try and Master of Roses, that one on the PS2 with the rose theme. Yeah, I might play that again. Like, now that I'm an adult, I might actually be able to beat it. I played Duel Links for a little bit. I have a Duel Links. I haven't played Master Duel. What is the new one? Whatever the main one is now. Yeah, I don't really play the games. But it's just a bizarre, nostalgic lens in which I look through and remember, like, how much of a connection I had to it when I was a kid. But, yeah, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. And, yeah, I'll see you next time.